What's good? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chuck. Thank you so much for being here. We like to talk about investing in the Pokemon space. Investing in the Pokemon space seems to be the theme these days, but today we're doing our typical Monday market recap. We are going to be looking at some of the biggest movers, some news over the past week. We have a lot to talk about today. I'm excited to get into it. But really quickly, just want to give a thanks to today's video sponsor. That's right, you know them. It's PokeNotify. I use PokeNotify. I've been using them since January to get product that I want. So I spend almost no time at all going in store to look for product that's not there. They make it really easy, and they just basically put out an announcement, maybe I'm not supposed to do this, that Best Buy is dropping the new Latias box for Mega Evolutions potentially today or soon. For the pre-orders, we'll go over what exactly that is in the video. Also, quick announcement that they now have, PokeNotify has launched the PokeNotify Emporium, which is a consignment service with very competitive rates, it seems like. So, there's still more information that you can go in and look at in the process. Submissions are now open, but definitely do your research. Seems like a good deal for, you know, a competitor to some of the larger consignment services. And thanks again to PokeNotify for today's video. All right, let's get into it. Starting off, I want to take a look at Destin Rivals because Destin Rivals is the talk of the town, right? We all love it. We all hate it. We all wish we had more. It continues to go up. Guys, I'm getting to a point where, you know, I'm looking at these prices, by the way, selling very consistently for $300 all day long. with a lot of sales volume. And this is what I have been talking about with Destin Rivals. The set is extremely popular. There is a lot of demand for it. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It is the best booster box of the era. I am not buying for $300. I have one box. I got it for $215. That is it. That is it. If it goes higher, so be it. And I'm considering even... because I only have one box, I'm probably never going to sell it. Or at least for a long time. But I would consider selling it if it gets up to like the $400 or $500 mark, which... not sure that's going to happen by the time a reprint hits, but... if that happens, I have some thinking to do. So, you know, insane growth, insane demand. Volume is tapering off a little bit, which is to be expected as you get higher in price. But, you know, expect a lot of support around this $300 price point. A lot of support. Still 41 sold over this past weekend, which is insane. Absolutely insane. Evolving Skies. We love Evolving Skies. And I will shill Evolving Skies until I'm dead. But for good reason. It's an incredible set. It's the best of the era. And I'm going to make a video probably this week about the best sets performing sets that are not considered the best in an era. And why you should be focusing primarily on the top few sets of every era. But, again, one sale confirmed, 2,500. No recent sales volume since then, but on eBay, we're seeing prices really around the $2,200 price point. One sold on Probstein, again, probably the largest consignment, for $2,200, $2,100. We have a best offer, you know, off of 23, I'd guess somewhere around 22, 21 to 22 on that. So, you know, sitting pretty comfortably at that $2,200-ish price point, it seems like, give or take $100. But again, just doesn't seem to be stopping. Sales volume is still quite high. We're still getting a lot of sales on Evolving Skies boxes, even at this price point. It is a beast. And I don't see it really stopping anytime soon. And I do believe it will have a trickle effect into other Sword and Shield sets. Going forward, Lost Origin, right? Fusion Strike. Where are we? Here we go, Lost Origin. We had a recent sale on the Lost Origin case for $3,400, which is roughly $575 a box. So barely any premium on the cases right now. And I think that's a pretty good opportunity because these boxes are selling all day for 550, listed currently 558. eBay volume is there at 550 pretty consistently if you look. Same story with Fusion Strike, you know, $727. I mean, let's go check eBay just to be sure. But, you know, I believe we've had some sales closer to the $800 range. Let's take a look. Fusion Strike booster box. Solds. $769 best offer. You know, 800. $729 plus 60 delivery. $850. That's insane. Rudy Alpha. I guess if you put Rudy Alpha in your title, you get $100 more than what it's worth. $745 best offer. That's pretty legit. $800 plus shipping. Yeah, I mean, this is a box that's going anywhere between, you know, I would say $720 and $800. So if you can get on the low end of that, I still think it's a decent entry point for the second best booster box of the era. Personally, if I have an opportunity to buy one, I will. I will. So crazy things we're seeing from Sword and Shield. Expect more movement. Again, I do believe Evolving Skies will likely be closer to that $3,000 range by the end of the year. You know, these are the recent sales volume, I would say, is kind of more healthy, you know, less buyout centric and more just natural sell through volume in a bull market, people buying them for their collections or for investment or whatever it may be. You know, in previous booms, like back in May for Sword and Shield, you know, we saw huge buyouts for Fusion Strike, like 30 to 60 boxes sold in a day type of volume. We're not really seeing that yet. And I think if we get more consolidation in these price points, I think that only increases the percentage chance that eventually there will be a buyout when players with huge amounts of capital come in and they start swooping up these boxes because they know it's the last time they'll be able to do that. And, you know, an era that's out of print is going to be much more a risk-averse play compared to something like anything in Scarlet and Violet. So these are things you need to be thinking about when you're looking at these boxes. And personally, you know, I'm holding on to a little bit of capital. We'll see for Collecticon to make some moves there. And I'm afraid that this will be much more expensive than it is because that is 2 months away almost exactly. So I might have to make a move earlier on a Lost Origin box or a Fusion box. And if I see an evolving box for like under 2,000, I'll probably buy it. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff we're seeing here. 151, not a lot to say here. Recent price increases, but you know, bundle, let's see, the Elite Trainer box is still sitting around 276. So I guess it has increased even more with recent sales in the 280s. Pretty insane. Pretty insane. I am not buying 151 ETBs for that price point. It just feels too high to me when I can have a booster bundle, get 6 packs for, you can still find them for 55 bucks on Facebook over market, not including the ones you can find at retail in the vending machines, which I know a lot of people have been recently. But yeah, look at this crazy, crazy volume here. 431 sold. 330 sold in one day. Yeah. Yeah, people are accumulating this at this price point. This is what we see. You see a price point reach, and then you see it kind of sit there for a little bit, consolidates. Players come in, they buy, and they buy, and then the cycle continues again. So 330 sold in a day on TCG Player. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Mini 10 display. I have one of these. I just want to check for myself. 213, pretty flat. Not a crazy amount of demand for the Mini 10 display, but it will increase in price, and it's a cool product. Anything display and sealed for 151 is going to be pretty cool to have in the future. But yeah, I'm still looking for deals for 151. I might buy a couple more on Facebook. I messaged somebody last night. They have a bunch of bundles, and they're selling them at 55, so seems like a pretty good deal to me. I might pick up a couple more. It's kind of what I'm doing. You know, I'm kind of dollar cost averaging into 151, so to speak. So, you know, $55 seems like a pretty good deal to me. The Sam's Club reprint is basically dead, I would say, at this point. I mean, they've pretty much all been purchased. There were estimated to be over 100,000 units printed. And, you could find ETBs on Facebook pretty comfortably for 90 bucks, maybe $100 with the Pokeball. So call it 90. Again, expect card prices to continue to drop for this. I still think a lot of them will hold value, but just because the pull rates are so bad. But yeah, $94, continuing to drop. I wouldn't be surprised if this chills. My expectation is it'll probably chill around 90 bucks. Because that's kind of what you see on Facebook. Still quite a lot of volume. I mean, look, 313 reprints hit, 142, 173, 263. So actually the volume increases as the pricing drops, which is why I don't think it will go lower unless we get like 5 more of those Sam's Club reprints in the short term. So, obviously a lot is being printed. The Pokédata has not yet updated the impact of the sat value as far as I'm aware. 4,600, I bet it's a little bit lower than that. I would probably trim off maybe 600 bucks, roughly, give or take, right? Maybe that's more accurate though. Maybe $300 off or something. I don't know. But yeah, continuing to drop. I don't expect the sat value to like ever go below like 2,000. And when you compare it to the rest of the era, that's, I believe, the highest in the era. So, pretty solid deal, all things considered. When you compare it to set values, like, surging pretty high, Paladin Fate's pretty high, 1,000 now. That's insane. Dropped so much. What is Paladin Fate's? 1,200. Yeah. So I mean, we still have a long way to go before people think it's not worth buying, right? Journey Together booster boxes. This is the enhanced one, right? Yeah. For sure. Right? Let me double check. I need to make sure. Journey Together booster box, SVO9. $242, guys, plus shipping. Look, we're at a point where if this pushes anywhere near $300, I have 2 boxes. I'm for sure selling one of them at $300. That is insane. And I'll just convert that over to Sword and Shield. I would even consider selling both of them at that point. Look, Journey Together is a good set. Is it worth $300 in my eyes? I don't think it's sustainable. It's incredibly at risk for a reprint. It doesn't have the strength of Destin Rivals to maintain a high price point in my eyes, although it is a solid set. $300, I'm definitely going to be taking profits in that range. Again, Lost Origin sitting around 500 bucks. Fusion Strike, same thing. Seismitoad from Black Bolt and White Flare. We all know Shinji Kanda, $150. That is crazy. Really high sales volume. Not fully reflected yet. Pokédata, unless you actually click into it. But yeah, 155 bucks. That is stupid. The Zekrom selling for about $500. The SIR 234. The Victini $453. So we don't even know the pull rates yet for these cards, these monochromatic cards. But look, they're printing a lot of Black Bolt and White Flare. It's estimated that we got 20% more allocation than the first prismatic wave, but these cards are hard to pull, and these sets will retain value. I do believe one day these are going to be strong sets to be invested in. I just wouldn't be buying any singles right now, and, I don't think there's really great plays beyond the PC ETBs currently. I definitely wouldn't be buying anything over market for this set. I actually just found an ETB over the weekend at a vending machine at one of my Kroger's, and it was off forever, turned on. I was like, I'll click on it. Dang, ETB. So I ripped one, didn't get a whole lot. Just an IR and a full art, nothing crazy. But it's a fun set to rip. I love Gem 5 too. So, expect prices to keep coming down for that. I wanted to also look at the Probstein auctions from consignment. And I filtered by anything over $500. It gives you a good idea of what people are spending big bucks on. A lot of, Yokohama promo. A lot of like Japanese and 10s. You got, you know, Birds 338, different Radiant Collection cards and whatnot. $2,000 for PSA 10. Absolutely insane. 405 PSA 10 Japanese, right? You know, a lot of 7 Destin Rivals Elite Trainer boxes, 655 plus shipping. Pretty ridiculous. 3,800 for a Furious Fist box. Aquapolis Kingdra PSA 9, 767. First edition Lugia PSA 9, 2,100. You know, these are things that I like to look at. This looks like a raw Mario Pikachu. There was more sealed too. I think I was looking at it on my own. Let me go back to page 2. Yeah, just insane. A lot of autos being sold. There's a Fusion Strike booster box case, $48.50 plus $50 shipping. That comes out to a bit over $800 a box, which I think is actually fair deal for the case premium on Fusion. But again, for whatever reason, Sword and Shield case premiums, I think because they were so common at the time, like there's not a huge premium on the boxes, but it's a pretty fair deal if you ask me. And I'd definitely be looking at cases for some of these mid-tier Sword and Shield sets, Silver Tempest and Brilliant and all that. So yeah, just absolutely insane volume. There's still so much money coming into the hobby every single day. This is one consignment service, probably the largest. Lost Origin. There's that $3,400 Lost Origin case. Pretty insane, right? PSA 10 Chinese Lovebirds 761. Gold Stars are going crazy, guys. Holland Phantoms. PSA 6 3,500. Burning Shadows 1,100. Should I open it or should I keep it sealed? If you know, you know. 355 Astral 22 Evolving. I would value Evolving Skies boxes right now at about $2,200 currently. Steam Siege 1,200. Steam Siege. Insane. But again, yeah, that's expensive, but you would have been holding this box for damn near 10 years at this point. When did it come out? Steam Siege release date. Let's see. I think it was like 2016 or 2018. Yeah, 2016. So you'd be holding this for 9 years if you bought it at $100 at the 12x, which is pretty good. Don't get me wrong. But if you put that same money into literally anything else, it'd be worth more, which is why we like buying good sets, guys. 430 Chilling, 2550 Celestial Storm, 342 Silver Tempest, 590 on a Lost Origin box. This person sold it for really the top end. Breakpoint 21, Fates Collide 23, Shining Legends ETB 661. Pretty insane, pretty insane. So yeah, I think it's always good to look at what's being sold on auction for consignment, because this is where big moves are being made, guys. Big moves. I mean, let's pump it up. Let's say minimum 8,000, just out of curiosity for fun. There's that Mew, that Chinese Mew that I think you can only get from that tournament, and there's like was it 15? I guess 1,500 of them exist. PSA 10, best offer on 18,000. Wild. Charizard Poncho 93. The Mario set PSA 10, $16,000. Golly. Charizard Gold Star. Tag 8. 8,500. Got some more Poncho sales. Here's a Team Skull 8,000 for 10. First edition Fossil 15,500. I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but like these are all in the last week or so. There's still huge money being made at the top end of vintage Gold Stars boxes, right? 19,000 first edition Rocket. It's interesting to see, and I bet a lot of you aren't really aware of this, and that's totally fine. Lugia PSA 10, Unseen Forces, $13,000 Gold Star. Crystal Alakazam, $13,000. Woo! PSA 10. Gold Star Jolteon, 12,000. Guys, gold stars are going insane. Here's a Beckett 7.5. Gold Star Rayquaza from EX Deoxys, $14,000. And I wanted to take a look at that too. I mean, look at these prices. BGS 8.5, 17.9, 7.5, 15.1. I don't know what the pop is. I'm sure you can look for PSA 10s, but it's very few. Here's a 9 that sold for near $23,000. That's just crazy. Look at that old PSA from back in the day. Yeah, pretty absurd. Pretty absurd. Very few 10s of that card. Very few. So, yeah, pretty interesting to look at. Again, still tons of money. Here's an Evo Skies case, 11.2. That seems like a pretty fair deal, actually. That sold a month ago. Wild. Wild stuff. I want to look at Bubble Mew. I'm considering buying this card. I believe it's the best card of the SV era. I believe it's the most iconic card of the SV era. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. It's beautiful. The texture is incredible, especially in Japanese. I am looking to pick this card up. I know it just spiked up 85 bucks, but this is a card that I want. I love it, first of all. And I do believe that this will continue to increase as the years go by. Absolutely. Absolutely believe that. Up 328% from its lows of basically like 88 bucks. $80 card back in August of last year. But yeah, definitely big movement recently. Pretty insane. I always like to look on Facebook as well. I always talk about this. I'm in Atlanta, so I set my mile radius to 40, local shipping last 7 days. And as you can see, you got a lot of whatnot specials in here. Destin Rivals, Chinese, Japanese, shit. Here's a bunch of 151 bundles, 60 bucks, bulk. This is a guy that will sell maybe at 55, so I'm looking to maybe make a move on that. We'll see. I put out an offer on this Lost Origin box. He is at reasonably priced, around $545. I'm going to offer somewhere in the 500 region, which is, I think, just over 90%, or maybe at 90%, which I think is a fair offer. We'll see what he says. Yeah, a lot of cards, lots of collections. These get pounced on pretty quickly. A lot of Black Bolt, White Flare, a lot of chromatics, a lot of random slabs that people grade. These people vend as well quite often. So more whatnot specials. And yeah, nothing too crazy. You don't see many opportunities for Sword and Shield popping up, because the one that I just pointed out was posted 13 hours ago. And I guarantee you some of these boxes will be sold by the end of the week. So, you know, if you're looking for things, look on Facebook. Other news, Paldea Evolved reprints have been confirmed. I believe PokeNotify broke the news for this, so we'll see if we get more information on that. I would like more information on this personally. Retailers. I don't know if this is going to be anything meaningful. I can't tell you any information that I don't have, of course. To me, it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything that affects the booster boxes that much. If there are more boxes, they will be purchased immediately, and I doubt there will be that many. So all we can do is keep an eye on it and see what happens. But, you know, yeah, that's all you can do. And then, of course, the Mega Latias boxes that are being released in October for $21.99, comes with 4 packs, a promo, and a lenticular jumbo card. And I believe all that means is that it, if you look at it at a different angle, it shifts back and forth. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty interesting. Mega Evolution booster packs, if you didn't already know, they're only including code cards in every other pack going forward. I guess it's Pokemon's way of saving on cost. Maybe those code cards are hard to print, to generate. I don't know. Or they want to make more money in the TCG apps by giving people less packs, essentially. Seems like there are better ways to cut cost. Jumbo cards. But, you know, more products to be released over the next weeks and months up until release for this set. So, you know, September, be on the lookout. And I'm sure we'll get more news on Poke Beach in regards to upcoming Mega Evolution sets. So I think that covers pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. Let me know if is anything moving. Like, I know Mega Rayquazas are still going insane. So drop that down below if you see crazy price movement, or you have predictions on what you think could happen or what you're buying. For me, I feel like Sword and Shield still the play. Still the play. Less and less at card shows is what I'm seeing. So, all right, guys, that is the Market Monday recap. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate all the support. Had a really fun live stream yesterday. Thanks to everybody who was there. So if you haven't seen that, maybe check it out. Maybe not. All good. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.